Hi, it's Deborah with Hail Recon. We are covering the basics of the mobile app. So I have an iPad that I'm logged into just because it's something larger for you to see. Let's sign in. So from the top right-hand corner, I'm going to click the lightning bolt or compass, either one, and choose sign in. But before I actually do that, I want you to see that's also where you can change your password and call us. If I choose customer support here, then it'll activate our phone number and you can call right then. And here's where you find your alerts. Right now, mine are paused. So if I tap that again, then it should say subscribed. So now I know I'm going to receive alerts to my device. And this is device specific. So if you have logged into your phone and you've got that paused and you're also logged in, or then you log into your iPad or some other device, you can have it unpaused. Okay? When they're all subscribed, you'll get notifications everywhere. So let me sign in here. We do remember your password once you sign in the first time and you have like facial recognition. My iPad doesn't have that. All right. So the very last time I was using my app, I was in a standard map view. You can switch to a satellite view by going to the orange arrow in the bottom right-hand corner, tapping there, and then choosing satellite. And this is a toggle between the two. Okay, so that's easy enough to do that. I zoomed out some on my screen, and I just wanted to let you know that all those circles on my account is what it's doing. It's notating that there are clusters of markers in that general area. So right in here where it says 170, there's 170 markers in that area. If I tap on any of these circles like that one, it'll zoom in, split the clusters of markers and show me them in smaller ways, and then individual markers. So let me zoom back out. Okay, a little bit more on the screen on this particular date of 6/8/2020, and that's the date, map date at the very top of the screen. So on this map date, I've got forecasted hail. I also have hail in the area. So if I zoom in there, I can see not, now I should back up a little bit. Do you see this little button over here? So that's a layers button, and right now I have everything turned on. So this gray area that you see in up here, the kind of shaded, that's the forecast. So I'm going to turn it off for right now. And then I also have severe thunderstorm warnings. So all of these areas here that is outlined with a yellow or outlined in red, those are tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings. So I'm going to turn that off. Okay, by default, these first 5 are on. All right, so let's learn how to find hail. So what I'm going to do is access the menu in the top left-hand corner. And then from here, I want to choose recent hail events. Let's start there. Now, if you're not logged in properly, you may not see some current dates. And these list of dates is in descending order by the date, if there's hail on that date. Now, I have a nationwide account, so what I see on my screen may be different than yours. And we also give you, we rate these storms. So ratings from a 0 up to a 5. The ratings are based on the number of housing units that were impacted in that area that's, well, impacted by the hail in that area, if we have demographic information for the area that was impacted. Okay, so when you see things like this 0 rating, doesn't mean that there was no hail. It just means that we may not have had demographic information in order to calculate how many addresses were impacted. So I selected that date, and here's the hail right in here. So let's zoom in to that area. You can see that it's kind of a rural area, so we wouldn't really have demographic information for that area. So it's not always based on the hail size. Looks like we do have some nice hail over there in the mountains. And while I'm looking at this swath, we call these hail swaths. To determine the size of hail for the colors, basically just tap on the colors. I'm going to tap right there. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So I'm going to tap right there. It tells me that that is 1/2 inch. So all the colors like this light yellow is 1/2 inch. And then as the colors get darker, hail size is greater. Okay?
Cool.
Okay. So I'm going to zoom out. And let's go back to recent hail events. So back to the menu, recent hail events. And this is a list. If I scroll down, I can go back and look at all kinds of storms. Okay, it's actually not just a year. It goes back a long ways. We've been in business since 2012, and we have data from 2011. So I wouldn't recommend using this screen all the time to find hail. So hope that didn't make you dizzy. But I'm going to click on this date and see where that one happened. In order to find the hail, I have to zoom out. So I'm going to pinch in to zoom out. And I'm looking for all the yellow and red areas. There it is. Okay, so here's a nice storm to look at real fast because it does have a bunch of hail spotter reports. So hail spotter reports are these icons. They come in green, blue, and red. These are actual people in the area that is certified through NOAA. And they've gone through a class, they've passed the test. It gives them the authority to call in this information. So it's not just anybody in the area, okay? So when they call it in, NOAA has to plot that somewhere on the map, and then we capture that data and put it on our map for you to have extra information. So you got information from people in the area and also from our hail swaths. Please, please, please do not go chasing after spotters. You do get them as a notification, but that doesn't, just because this one is sitting right here and it looks like it's not even in the swath, it's not. NOAA may not have had correct coordinates or address or a good description of where to place that. So they may have had to put it in the center of a little town or zip code. So you would be disappointed if you went and chased after these spotters. So the whole idea is for you to be able to see that not only do you have radar data and our meteorologist that's reviewing the data for our hail swaths, but you also have people in the area that's kind of validating. Okay, so good information. And any of these hail spotters, when you create an impact report, if they're within a 10-mile radius of the address, those are going to be included on your report, all the description of it and the size. So green is smallest, 1 to 1 1/4. Blue is 1 1/2 up to 2. And then red is anything over 2. Okay. All right. So let's find hail for a certain area. So I'm going to zoom out and Ed, since you're talking right now, do you want to pick an area?
How about Petersburg, Illinois?
Illinois. Okay. Not sure if I know where Petersburg is, but
It's just north of Springfield.
okay. Springfield. I see Springfield. There's Petersburg. Okay. So I'm just going to place that area on the screen. And so I can see Petersburg right there. Here's Springfield. I've got some areas around it. Okay. I don't want to dive into just a neighborhood or something like that. I want a good amount of region. Then, so this is my criteria, whatever's on my screen. Now I'm going to go to the menu and choose Find Hail in Map. And notice this date, right, the date range. It says last 12 months. If you click there first, you can choose a different date range. I'm going to leave it at 12 months. And then choose Find Hail in Map. This works the same on an Android. So now it's not just sorted by date, it's sorted by the rating that we give the storm and then by date. Okay, so if I want to look at this July 11th date, I'll tap there, let it load that map date. You can see all the hail that's up here. And I'm glad we looked at this because these are some more spotters. These tan icons with the wind map, windsock in it. I lost it for a second. If you tap on those, these are either giving wind speeds or wind damage. Looks like these are all speeds. A lot of times you'll see more, oh, there's a wind damage one. So I'm going to tap on that and it tells me 10-inch tree down. I don't have the whole thing, time established by, that's it. But anyway, those would also be included on any impact reports. So that's the hail for that date. If you look at the bottom, I've got hail finder results. I can go back to my list and look at a different date. Okay, that looks even better. And that was more recent. That was 5/3/21. Now, if I zoom into this area and keep zooming in, I can actually see if there's any houses there. There is. Nice neighborhood there. Okay. So we need to be able to drop a marker. Let's learn how to drop markers. The first method is called a press on the map. So I'm going to tap right here where this address is and press and hold with my finger. Imagine that's finger. And when I do, it describes the size of hail that I'm currently in because I'm in a hail swath. And then if I tap the eye, I can open this marker and it gives me the address. Okay, and notice right here the map date. So I dropped this marker on the date of 5/3/21. So this marker is actually going to be stored to that date. That's important to remember. Okay, so if I go to the 2nd of May, I'm not going to see the marker on that date. The whole idea is we're a mapping service, and the each map date is supplying all the data that you're collecting for addresses that have been impacted. So when you drop markers, we store them on that date. There are ways to change that, and we talk about that in an admin class. All right, so you've got some buttons up at the top. The very first one I want to mention is the date of loss. So I'm going to find a date of loss, and that is using the second button. We tap there. This takes less than 7 seconds to run. It is a quick list of every impact since 2011 to this address, and then also within a 1 mile, 3 mile, and 10 mile radius of this address. This first column is referring to the address that we're on. And any box besides the gray ones, the gray means yes, there was hail, but not at the property. There was hail within 1 mile, 3 miles, or 10 miles. Okay, so the most recent hail was this 5/3/21, and then they haven't had hail since April 2020. But if I scroll down, I'm going to see everything to 2011. so you can get a really good understanding of what's happened to this roof. Now, to get out of this report, and by the way, I know lots of people that like to use this report as they're talking to the homeowner, so they can say, hey, you may not know it, but yes, you've been impacted several times. Here it is. All right, so I'm going to hit the back button, and I want to create an impact report. I want to start it because it takes a few seconds to run, and that's the first one. So an impact report is used for two reasons. One, you can use it as a marketing tool. So in this area where we've dropped this marker, we have several houses that were impacted with the same hail size. So it's a cool idea to create at least one of these impact reports and then use that, like save it and send it to yourself, so that you have something to show them when you knock on the door. Okay, some people print it, they have it physically in their hands before they go to the neighborhood. Now, I'm not going to wait on that report. I just kind of backed out of it and went back to the map. It's still going to run, and then we're going to come back to that in a second. I want to show you another way to drop a marker. So that is by going to the menu and choosing Find Address right here. So we only use this once per address because this is the method where you need to type in the address. Somebody's called you on the phone and says, hey, I need a date of loss. Here's the address. So you'll select this. There we go, in Petersburg. So I'm going to click on that address and click again. And notice my notification. I don't know if you noticed that at the top. It just told me my impact report was done. So there it is, right there, the address that I just selected. Now, keep that in mind that you only use that once per address. Okay, so that's the second method. And again, if I want to open that marker, I can tap the I. If you're using an Android device, just tap the address to open. And you may be curious about the other buttons up at the top. So we've used the quick hail impact list. That's a show impact dates, and we've used this one to create a report. This is Recon pics. You can take photos. They're stored to the marker. Then you can use those photos in your impact report. So that's kind of cool. Just play with it. Don't be afraid to push buttons. This is to pull contact data. So if I click that one and choose yes, it'll try to pull contact data for this address. And looks like there's none to obtain for this one. And then there's the way to delete this marker if for some reason maybe you're just testing out the system. And there is a menu up at the top you can look at. All right, I'm going to back out of that marker, and I want to show you another way to drop a marker, and that's by using canvassing. We're going to spend a little bit of time in canvassing. So canvas is at the bottom left corner. When you tap it, the first thing I want you to notice is if this arrow right here is white or blue. If it's blue, then you're in a follow me mode. So follow me mode is on. That means that when you're walking the streets of this Pine Knob Road or wherever you're at, you'll see a little blue dot as to where you are currently at. It uses your GPS of your device. Okay, so that's pretty cool because then you don't need to worry about what house you're next to. If that's blue, then cool. That's when you use it. It's when you're driving or you want it to follow you. But if you don't want it to follow you, then click on that arrow to turn it white. Okay, so without knowing that, some people have gotten pretty frustrated that it keeps bouncing back to where I'm sitting in my office or home or whatever. So make sure you click on it. So in this canvassing mode, to drop a marker, I recommend tapping the question mark first. Make that your first, like a pre-knock marker, because it's going to pull contact data at the same time it drops a marker. So let's tap on another address. I'm going to tap on that one. And it did pull contact data. It's Raymond, male, 75 years old. He's the homeowner. Okay, I don't have other information. And let's say I walked to this house. They didn't, he didn't answer the door. So I'm going to update the status. I'm going to select the yellow one. That one means no answer. And then I'm going to tap the save in the bottom right corner. Okay, so now I know all of these that have the yellow number 1 on it means that I've tried to make contact at least once. If I go back later that afternoon, I'm going to select that marker again. Let's say he didn't answer again. Then I'm going to tap again on the no answer and then save it. So now I know twice I've tried. Okay, let's drop another marker over here. And this one has a phone, but it's on the DNC, the do not call registry. Okay, so technically if they complain, you could get in trouble for calling them. I know everybody's totally disregarding that these days. So, down at the bottom, let's say we have made contact. She wants us to get back with her. So I'm going to use the need to return. So you notice how if you just tap on these statuses and look right below there, it tells you what they mean. I have some that I've I've added to my account, and it can be done from the admin on your account. Okay, so adding a note is very simple. Just tap at the bottom, enter your note. Let's go back Tuesday at 2 p.m. So I want to update it as a need to return and save it. Okay, so that's the whole idea. Now, if I need a quick date of loss and I'm in canvas mode, I'm going to click on this one. Notice how the icon turns, it's bigger when you select it. And now I want to be able to get a date of loss. So I'm sitting here talking to the homeowner. I'm going to expand the marker. So I'm going to hit this button here. If you're on an Android, it is 3 little dots. Same thing though, get you the same place. Okay, and then I could choose the date of loss. So I just wanted to show you how to open the marker when you're in canvas mode. So I'm going to tap the back button and you're still in canvas mode. So any questions about canvassing? It's really quick, easy to use. The names come from cold information. I wouldn't recommend addressing somebody with the name until you're sure it's the right name. You could ask and you can confirm and then maybe update. So to update a name, basically you would just tap right here where it says customer name and either change what's there or add a new one. Right, I'm going to close that. Now let's get back to, let's go find that marker I dropped it's this one right here. I'm going to tap that. And I know the impact report's done. And I want to add a name. So let's say this is Henry Thomas. I want to, and also expand this. Now, I'm going to click right back on the printer. That's what we used earlier. And you see here, there's my impact report. Okay, I'm going to go through this a little quickly because we're almost out of time. We have just information at the top that tells you some of the options you can select from this report. Most importantly is this date of loss, okay? We're in an edit mode right now. And right in here is where you could pick and choose how much data you want to display on this report when you send it. I'm going to scroll down. Your logo, should it be in here? If it's not there, then ask the admin to add it. And we always give you pictures from Google, rooftop picture, street view. If those are good pictures, then and you want to include it on the report, you have to click this button. And customer information would show up in here and their address. So this is the date that it defaulted to, because we were on that date when we dropped the marker and created the report. So date of loss, the hail size that it was, detected, the speed, how long it stayed at the property. If you ever see undetermined, it's just because our system's unable to determine based on the speed and how long it was there. So, it'll just say undetermined. And the exact time it started hailing, direction it was going. And then right in here, this is nearby hail reported. So if we had 10 of those spotters in the area that's reporting hail sizes, you'd see 10 here, okay? There was just one in a 10-mile radius of this address, and they reported 1 inch as well. So scrolling down, there is the detail of that ground observations from the spotter, and they also called in wind damage reports, so power poles blown down. The green line is the line that we're using for the date of loss. Listen up here. If you need to change the date of loss because the first one is not the one you want this one here. So if you want a date, then you can click on one of these hyperlink dates, and it'll ask you then if you want to save the report date of loss. So that's how you can change the date, and select it there. It will update the report refresh, and now this section is referring to the new date of loss. We always give you all of the severe thunderstorm warnings, and if you scroll all the way past that, this is wind data on the same date of loss that I chose. If I want to include it, I have to click the check boxes. Okay. These are personal weather stations that's submitting wind speeds. And I can even choose one to be the narrative. When I do choose one, it'll refresh the report, and now along with hail information, I've got wind information. Okay, and then to send the report, you've got 2 buttons up at the top of your screen. That's sending as a PDF, and the other one is send strictly email. If you use that one up there in the top right, the little envelope, then when they open this report, you'll get a notification back telling you they opened it. Okay. I don't see any questions. If you have a question, then you can submit one. I'll stay on for a couple more minutes if you do have one.
This is really cool. Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right then. This concludes our Jumpstart class for Hail Recon mobile app. Please give us a call if you have any questions. We're happy to help.